Go.
Fifers arriving. Hey, welcome to the Fifers Podcast, DD991. I'm Rocky fucking Alderete, that's Gilly, that's Stumper, that's Little Tate, and Jimmy W. And today we're going to talk about crybabies, and some ghost stories, and some other funny stuff. Who would like to begin?
All right. You know how everybody, is crying now that Doge is fucking cutting through the government, going through everything? I figured we start off with that. And this is just opinion piece, people. This is our opinions as veterans, because first of all, we see things a little differently than most people ever will. And the first thing we want to bring up, and people's crying about, can a president withhold funds, right? Where the hell I have that? Here we go. Withhold funds that Congress already approved. And their short answer is yes, he can. In memorandum of Office of Management and Budget, the office issued a directive to freeze spending allocated by Congress for billions of dollars of federal aid. The OBM rescinded memo also said it would continue to review federal spending programs. The process in which the president withholds or delays spending programs authorized by Congress is called impoundment. And all that is, people, he can do it for 15 days or 45 days, actually. Then after that, if Congress don't vote on it, then the money has to be distributed as per Congress said. But I just think it's funny that how, Elon is the big bad boogeyman now. Obama and Clinton did basically the same thing, but they just didn't do it as quick. People forget about that. Some people have it, but a lot of people do. But this is what the American people wants, the majority. We want to see that fraud. We want the curtain peeled back, people, and see, okay, where's this money going? Because that's our money. That should never be going like the drag shows in Ireland or wherever. Because we're pissing off those country hosts, but they don't want to say nothing to piss us off. And those countries need to take a stand, I think, anyways, on that. He'll say, no, we don't want this. Because all this, the USA is, the CIA has found their way into it. That's their way of getting into other countries versus how they did it the old way, I think, anyways. Anyone else got any thoughts on it?
Yeah, I do. I think that why would we give money and aid a country that hates America, that says death to America? That makes absolutely no sense to me. If anything, if they want money from us, then they need to be loyal to us. They need to toe the line, and that's doing the right thing for their people and our people so that we can have a symbiotic relationship that works well, right? Doing business with other countries, helping people with resources and stuff like that. That's what I would imagine. That would be what USAID should be for. Besides that, they should be taking care of our veterans. All the people that served this nation and lost body parts, lost lives, lost part of their soul because of PTSD and stuff like that, they should be getting something for their service to a country that needs this because it's volunteer. They should volunteer help because we volunteered to serve our country. And that's my opinion on it. Anyone got another one?
Well,
yes. Go ahead, Gilly.
Well, no, go ahead, Jimmy.
Go ahead. So I'm very, very in tune with veteran affairs here, at least in the Bay Area, San Francisco, as in what the issues are: homelessness, PTSD, lack of care for veterans who are actually enrolled in the system. And a lot of the left-leaning media, the Trump haters, I hate to say that, but the Trump haters, they're putting out this narrative about Project 2025 that, hey, they're gonna cut veterans benefits, they're gonna cut the health care for veterans. And the new secretary for the VA, he actually did it was about a minute and a half video he sent out, and he said, okay, we welcome Doge to come in and take a look at our process and systems in the VA, because there is so much so much loss, so much waste. I'm not going to call it fraud. I'm sure there's a lot of good people who work in the VA, right? Actually, I've seen them that actually work in the VA, but there's also probably a lot of dead waste that they're hanging out, collecting a paycheck, which again, I think is a waste of taxpayers' dollars. And every, I don't know what the amount is for the veteran or the VA budget, but it's billions of dollars per se, right? But the bureaucrats have came in and they've dominated, they've dictated, hey, sweetheart deals, having a good, hey, sending money over here, filling their buddies' pockets. And of course, I think from a Doge perspective, Elon Musk has been very, very successful in business. I see him out here in San Francisco, Tesla. This guy slept on the factory floor. I have Navy buddies who work for Tesla, but he's a no nonsense sort of dude. Well, if I'm working for somebody, or if it's my business, hey, he has expectations, right? And not, oh, hey, you're black, you're white, this and that, and hey, from an equality perspective, is the best person should get the job, right? The most qualified person should have that job. I've seen a bit of your podcast. You guys talked about this before, so I don't want to go off topic here, but I really think that this Doge thing, and I like the way that Trump came in and he hit it hard. And the other thing is, well, hey, why is Musk is now the president? Well, he's not. Any good leader, any good captain, any good CEO, they bring the best people around him. They go out and get the best people around them to run their business, to cut the fat. So, anyhow, just my 20 cents or 10 cents.
I'm glad you brought up the VA, right? Because I hear people on Facebook and all that, complaining, well, they're going to cut your benefits, right? Blah, blah, blah. No, if Trump was going to do that, he would have done it the first term. And he made it better for us, I think, to get faster rating, get not so long a wait time to see your doctor. And then when Biden came in, the wait time went from, a month back to 3 to 4 months just to see your damn doctor.
Agreed.
But what he's going to do with the jobs they're saying he's going to cut, right, 1,000, that's across the nation. That's not at one clinic or one hospital, people. He's cutting the people that are like non-essential. That's not full time. Because a lot of people don't realize about the VA. And how I know this, I got a cousin that works at the VA, and they're in Oregon, and my ex-wife worked at the VA here in Columbia, and they have a union. A lot of people don't realize that. They're going to get rid of a lot of the non-union people that's not been there for a very long time, and that's not really producing anything. Because anybody that's been to the VA, I don't know how it works at other VAs, but the one in Columbia, you go to your clinic, whether it's red, blue, whatever, right, color it is. Well, you got like 10 people at the front desk, right? And most of them ain't doing shit. That's what needs to be cut out of the VA, what I see.
Agree.
And the VA here in Columbia, they're always remodeling. Why? That hospital was remodeled years ago. They're always adding on to it for some reason. That doesn't make no sense to me, anyways. But the only thing they used that money for that I thought was great, kind of like the Ronald McDonald House, but for veterans, for say people that's their family members are have to live there, because something medical wise, right?
The Fisher House is what it's called.
Yeah. So they built one for veteran families, so they don't have to be paying for a hotel room or nothing. Now, I think that's great. That was money more spent on it. But yeah, I mean, I love what Musk is doing. Come in, hit it hard and fast. But a lot of people, they want to keep doing the shit the same way and get the same result. No, that's just asinine, in my opinion, anyways. And I know, Lil Tate, you got something about the Army, right?
Yeah. The Army, during the Doge, and their audit themselves, they and what a lot of people don't know about this, may not know, is that we pay, if we live on base with a ship, we have to pay for our food. Yep. So right here, they're showing 100 got stuck. $151 million misappropriated. This was just for the soldiers' meals. They paid this money. They paid 151 million, more than that. It's actually, what did they pay in?
225 million, it looked like.
It looked like 425 million. $225 million was collected just across 11 bases, 11 Army bases. $225 million collected from the soldiers themselves to pay for their meals. Right? These are the meals that are subsidized to them. And now you're missing $151 million that didn't go to their meals that they paid for. That is straight just fucking disgusting. And we're already on the point where we don't make a lot of money as military members as it is. Hell, I remember as an E5 back then, I qualified for WIC. I worked and still qualified for federal assistance because that's how little money we fucking made. And you know what? I didn't for the longest time. And I was like, you know what? Fuck it. I'm paying taxes. I might as well use it. Because if I don't use it, somebody else is going to use it. And that's where you're seeing a lot of the Doge stuff is finding this fat that these people are taking away that could be used for, people that actually need it. And like we're talking about the VA. Like this money needs to be reallocated, VA and things like that, and actually put to those. And you can see where the spots were. Georgia, like you were saying, Gilly, red or blue. Georgia, New York, Colorado, Kansas, Texas, North Carolina, Kentucky, Hawaii, Alaska. These things are, these are the base. These are our troops. And we're not even taking care of active duty anymore.
That's a shame. That's a shame right there. Now, I have another perspective on the Doge thing, but it has to go into why people are being fucking crybabies. Why are they crying? Because we're finding out that everybody that's in politics is wasting our money instead of giving that money back to the people to build the economy up. You know what I mean? So if I were like in charge of Doge or something like that, I would audit every senator and every House of Representative, all their aides and assistants and all that other stuff. And then the judges in all the circuit courts that come out with these wacky, stupid conclusions for cases. I forgot what the judgment on the cases. When someone judges a case and it's like, this is complete bullshit. I would be like, who is paying them off? Because I guarantee you're going to find pharmaceutical companies, chemical companies, all kinds of companies and all kinds of corporations that are in it buying these people off. And it makes them dirtier than fucking porn stars. And if you know what's going on in that world, in that perspective, then it's like, come on, this is terrible. Why would we do this to our own people? It's like you're taking a knife and cut your own hand off. It's stupid. But, that's just my opinion on that.
Yeah, but I think on the Democratic side, I think that's intentional. That's on purpose. They want to hold people down to a certain degree that we are dependent on the government, or the average person is dependent on the government, right?
Exactly. Yep.
And I think from a Doge perspective, again, they're throwing out the head of, well, Musk is coming in and he's getting billions of dollars of contracts and all that stuff. He had those contracts already, even before he came on board. He had those contracts. And again, one thing about Musk is you're going to get good value for every dollar spent in his organizations. That's proven. Every dollar or anybody that works for Musk, they earn their paycheck because he won't have them around too long if they don't. And again, I know some veterans that work at Tesla. And they will tell you, this guy is no nonsense. His senior management, the no nonsense, or they won't last too long. So anyway.
And also talk about like Musk, right? People crying about him, right? Well, he's not, wasn't elected, right? And worried about their privacy, information, right? People forget that he was co-founder of PayPal.
Yep.
And you already got your banking information. He already had all that, people. So he does not need any of that. He's already got it if you're worried about that.
Yeah, the man with $40 million doesn't want to steal your $150 out of your bank account.
No,
exactly.
Then want to steal $600 Venmo transactions and Doge.
He has $40 million, not worried about our $150 balance in our checking account, you know?
But the people on the left too should be screaming about when Obama, not Obama, but God damn it, Sleepy Joe, when he wanted those 87,000 IRS agents to audit the American people. You know, okay, we are not the employees; they're the employees. We're the damn employer of the government. We're supposed to be, anyways.
Yes, that's
People
true.
should have been getting upset about that.
You know what, Billy? Not to interrupt, but you know what I would love to see is the amount of work that got done after they hired those 86,000 people. I want to know how much work they actually got done, and I want to know how much money they actually recovered for the government from people's taxes. I want to see how legit that was, because I can guarantee you 90% of those 86,000 were not doing what they were supposed to be doing. There's no fucking way.
I mean, that's what people should have been crying about. Why you need more people to audit the American people? Because American people pay enough taxes. So I know Jimmy said it. You know, he paid a lot of taxes, you know, in some jobs he had. I did the same thing when I was working at the power plant. In 1 year alone, depends on how much overtime I worked. 1 year alone, just on federal, I paid $25,000 in federal taxes alone. You know, and I didn't get shit back from that. You know, but I'm tired of the people wanting to cry when the left does something right. They don't cry about. But as soon as a Republican or somebody like Trump does something that's going to be, I think is going to be good for American people, then they start calling him a Nazi and all that crap. You know,
I'll tell you what, but I've never seen more active duty service members speaking out against the president, any president before, on social media, on Facebook, on Twitter. Some of these guys are guys I served with. I'm like, dude, you should have no opinion. You can have your opinion, but you can't voice your opinion, and especially out in front of. I mean, I don't know, Rocky. I know. Rocky, when did you retire?
I retired in 2021. So when Trump became the president, I got stationed in Washington Navy Yard in Washington, D.C. Wow. And my goodness, that place was a political nightmare. Like, it was so crazy, bro. Like, the day that he got inaugurated in, there were riots. So I was an MAC at the time, right? So I was in charge of security. I had to go to the emergency operations center on the yard, make sure that no one was rioting where we were, because like 2 or 3 blocks down, I would say maybe north or south, there were people throwing bricks and all kinds of stuff in McDonald's and Starbucks. Wow. I'm like, why are we destroying our cities over this? And, you know, you have Ashley Judd saying, I'm a dirty girl and all this other crap. I'm like, I used to like her until she said that crap. I used to think she was smoking hot. And now I'm like, I would rather just have her put a baseball bat in her mouth and shove it through. Be quiet. You know, you're rich. You're a billionaire. Why the fuck are you complaining? And, you know, I saw all the madness going on in DC and how political and how volatile it was. And I remember when they had that PAC meeting. You remember that PAC meeting? It was like there were helicopters flying all over the place. And I watched them. I was like, oh, Trump's in that one. And then everyone else was going there because they were having those big meetings back in 2017 when McCain was done away with. Yeah. And so that's a crazy one to talk about. The CNN report where it said McCain was put to death.
Oh, yeah.
Remember that crazy crap? Like, dude, I was like, dude, they slipped up. Just like, what's her name? That she's a politician. She was the one the last time when Trump was president, go out there and cause problems and riot. And the other day she said, I don't know what Doge has on us. So, like,
Maxine Waters.
She's self-admitted. Maxine Waters, that's her name. She's already self-admitted to being a criminal. And I cannot understand how people are angry at people that are trying to save money and give money back to people instead of them being sent for stupid shit, you know?
TDS, Trump derangement syndrome.
I mean, that is a real thing. I remember seeing that girl, I don't know if it was San Diego, it was at a Pareto, and she was in her green cami uniform, our BDUs, right? The ones that we switched over to after we went to the blue ones and then the BDUs, the regular ones, the old school ones. And she was saying, fuck Trump, fuck Trump, fuck Trump. And I'm just like, how did she not go to captain's mast and get kicked out of the Navy for that shit? Or court martial? Like,
because
the fact that they got away with that, and then there were girls filming like they would not stand and salute the flag during colors. I'm like, what is going on? Where's the good order and discipline? And me being the fucking rebel I was when I first came in the Navy and growing up, I was like, I understand the rebellion, but I also understand like you got to maintain good order and discipline, and you got to have a working force because at any moment somebody can attack us. And if we're attacking each other, which is what everyone wants, then someone else is going to come in. It's like two gazelles fighting in Africa, right? And there's a lion prowling and waiting to attack either one that gets injured. And if Americans don't wake up and people don't wake up, they're going to have it happen to their country. They're going to have it happen in their town.
About what you're saying there, real quick, Rocky.
Yeah.
There's a whole nother show we can do about what you just, the last 30 seconds of what you just said. Because if you look at like Romania and all that other stuff, this goes into the USAID stuff. I know we're talking about VA and all that, but the USAID and stuff, Doge going in there and them throwing temper tantrums outside the front doors. Congress, Democrats from Congress up there throwing temper tantrums at the private security contractor wanting in the building, and he told them no. And with everything going on, we meddled in apparently the Romanian presidential elections and stuff through USAID, and we have learned how to topple government. And I have a feeling, and there's other people, and I can't name them all right now off the top of my head, but I know there are people that have studied this kind of stuff that are worried that in a year or two there's going to be major disruption in the United States because of what they're already doing right now for this Doge issue, and it's how they interrupt society. They already did it with the riots before, with closing off interstates and stuff like that, like blocking them, right? And all this. So then when you go in to actually remove them off the interstate, then all of a sudden they cry about humanitarian rights and all this other stuff that are being violated by the government, right? Which then they plead to other countries to help step in and help stop that from happening. So there's a whole nother show about that we could get into, and I'm not going to get into too much more, but USAID is a huge, huge issue because they have ties to JSOC and all this other stuff, which they should not have that kind of stuff. They should not have ties to JSOC and all these other things that they're uncovering.
Funny that you mentioned that, because JSOC and all of that, that's where the psychological operations go. That's where psychological warfare comes from. And that's straight in North Carolina.
Yes.
But remember when we were on the other podcast and we showed where all the other where psychological operations commands and units were? Like, it's all over the place.
Yeah.
So, it's just...
And Doge is by following the money, they're uncovering these issues, and they are now afraid that there's going to be too much that's going to be opened up to the public eye, and now they're worried and they're anticipating problems later on by these people doing exactly what we do in other countries to reverse their government and put people into power that we want in power in their governments. Because I don't care what the U.S. thinks, we do that in probably a good 40% of the world, I would say. We have a major... Being conservative.
I'd say it's higher than that right there. I think it's higher
being on the conservative side, 30 to 40% maybe. We have a good persuasion of who gets put into office, and we want them there because they will reciprocate and allow us to do what we need to do in the world. And so these Democrats, they have learned over the years on how to do this. And if you look at the different riots we've had over the past, burning down, police precincts and burning down businesses and blocking transportation and deliveries and all that. This is something that they have perfected. They have perfected this, and it's going to be a big issue, I think, in the next coming couple years. And Doge is like leading the way into this right now.
Yeah, but also the media is one who pushes this narrative as well, from burning cities and anti-Trump. Again, I think it comes back to, and again, listen, Trump is by no means, in my mind, perfect by any means. No. He's got flaws like everybody else, but Trump is your non-traditional politician who's a businessman. And at the end of the day, it comes down to, okay, I think he genuinely loves this country because he doesn't have to do this. He doesn't have to do this whatsoever, right? But he loves the country, and he's got a lot of pride in this country. But what we're teaching in our educational institutions, what we're teaching in our elementary schools, high schools, the lack of pride of being an American it's unbelievable. I mean, I'm going to go back to my homeland, but if you didn't stand for the national anthem in Ireland, they would stone you. You'd be carried out. I mean, Gilly would be throwing 2 hooks to somebody's head. But exactly. Again, I live in the most liberal place in the country. Probably San Francisco is the most liberal, but California gets a bad rap. There's a lot of middle ground conservatives out here, but these hippies, these professors who's teaching these ideations, and honestly, they're supposed to be teaching a curriculum, not their beliefs. But what they're teaching is their beliefs.
Exactly.
And then Musk comes in and questions that. Well, that's stupid. That's not common sense. Trump's another common sense guy. What you mean? You're gonna have a dude who used to be, or we have a dude who now is a chick going into my daughter's bathroom? Get out of here! It's ridiculous.
Yeah, I think Elon Musk is the number one guy to have in this position. And what people don't realize is he's not even getting paid to do this. You know, he's doing it out of the love of the country and the love of being able to be who he is and do the work that he does, and not have the restrictions that he would in other countries. And he knows that America's free, and that this is what we were founded on. We were founded on, free thinkers and businesses and everything. A lot of people don't realize the whole tax thing too is the tariffs. We survived off of tariffs. We didn't have income tax back in the day. The tariffs from other countries is what actually sustained our government, which was a small government. And that's what Trump is actually trying to do, is bring down our government to where it should be. And honestly, if people were to get on board with that, we could probably do away with income taxes. We could probably get rid of it. And if you let these two do their job, we would be income tax free, state tax free, and live off of, the government be funded by the tariffs of other countries. And guess what? We could be the most powerful country in the world again, and debt free doing it.
We should actually be like the Godfather. In 100%. A way, like we've been a very innovative country since we were formed, right? The great American experiment. We should be the Godfather. We should have learned all the mistakes from other countries for the thousands of years that these nations have existed, and go look at the history books and say, okay, we should do this, but we should not do that. And make it follow suit. And then we can lead the rest of the world into doing what's right. But like you said, Jimmy, Trump is not the best guy, but he's the best guy for right now.
For sure.
Right now, he's the best guy, right? So, yeah, I'm going to support the president because he's actually doing the right thing. He's choosing the best people, like you said, the most qualified people to actually do the job and get the job done. And I'm actually I'm so happy they're doing it, because it's like, I've wondered this for years. I'm like, where is all our money going? Why do we have such a humongous deficit? Why are we being bought and paid for by China? Why does China own us? Because people used to say that. And it's like, no, we should not be bought and paid for by anyone. We should be our own entity that does right for the American people. And if other people want to follow our example, then they do that, right? So that's just the way I think about it. And I'm glad it's going on. I mean, it's very interesting to say the least.
Well, and I want to add to that when we're talking about U.S. aid and all that stuff going overseas. If you remember, there was a quote, Elon talked about America was the only country that helped rebuild after World War II. Only country to help rebuild. And I want to take note of, a lot of people don't realize this, and I was studying U.S. government. There's two doctrines out, actually a doctrine and a plan. So you have the Truman Doctrine, which put in place and put forward to rid communism out of the world. And then the Marshall Plan was shortly after that, and I'll share it, what the Marshall Plan was. And this is where Musk was talking about, rebuilding, the U.S. being the only person that rebuilds is from this plan itself. Now, this is post-World War II, right here, communist expansion, all of it. And right here, that resurgence of European industrialization. And we were the ones that did that. We stimulated the U.S. economy and American goods and put it overseas. We did that. We helped rebuild Europe. Wasn't anybody else doing it. And then we made the plan to rid the world of communism. And then that's another episode itself that goes in, like Thumper was saying, other conflicts, other people put in place due to this idea of communism. So it becomes, polar opposites, communism, and that. And this and like you're saying, Rocky, this is what took out isolationism, and nationalism from America. Is like, we kept to ourselves, World War I, World War II, and then Pearl Harbor happened. So you put all those together and you break the U.S. out of isolationism. But that's for another story. I digress. I just want to say that Elon had noticed, being part of Doge, that we were the only country that's sending this money out. And you see it now. We've been sending money out for almost what? Almost 100 years now, 75 years.
Some of that money that's being sent out isn't even to rebuild. Actually, there are families over in Iraq right now getting money every month because their brother or father or son died fighting the Americans. Why are we paying these families when people like me, I'm 100% disabled. I've got 7 traumatic brain injuries from IEDs being blown up. I've got the trifecta of PTSD, depression, anxiety. I've got chronic neck, back, and shoulder problems. I get migraines on a constant, and these families are getting money every month from the United States when we have veterans on the street. We have veterans that aren't getting the care. My mental health appointments, what's crazy is they gave me these medications to take for my mental health, right? So every year, I go in and I sit in front of an actual psychologist. He asks me about 5 questions. How are you feeling today? Are you suicidal today? Blah, blah, blah. After I answer those, he says, okay, your prescriptions are refilled for the year. We'll see you in a year. And I get shuffled out. And I'm literally in his office for 10 minutes. But yet we are sending millions and millions of dollars to these Iraqi families and these Afghani families for people that were killed fighting us. So It's just frustrating being one of those guys on the ground with a weapon and being engaged with those enemies. Myself personally, it pisses me off knowing that these families are getting this money from our country instead of their own country taking care of them.
What about the fact that the USAID and Doge found that we were funding Al Qaeda?
Yeah, there's
Al Qaeda, ISIS, and I forgot the third one. What's the third one? Hamas?
Hamas,
Like that?
Yeah.
We were funding them like from USAID. Like why are we funding the people that want to kill us? That's why I said it earlier. Why are we helping people that say death to America? You know?
Iran is rich right now. They were poor before. And then the Biden administration came in, and now they're super rich, you know. And there is proof that up to like 87, I think, $billion is being sent every month overseas to terrorist organizations through these NGOs and USAID and all these others. It's ridiculous.
Hey, Thumper. Hey, first of all, hey, thanks for your service. That's you've been the shit, man, and I applaud you. Thank you for doing that. But
my pleasure.
Unfortunately, Thumper, there's a lot of Army vets, a lot of Navy vets. I'd say Army and Marines specifically that I've met, and they don't have the voice to go through the they don't have the ability to go through the process. So they're kind of left on the streets, and unless they bump into another veteran that will take them on. But a lot of times, going back to Doge and the VA, right? Those VSOs, I'm not saying they're all bad people, but a lot of them are making maybe $45,000 a year, and they come in at 8 o'clock in the morning, and they're looking at the clock at 5 o'clock, and they're like out the door, right? And a lot of times for us service, and Rocky, you know this as well, but and Thumper as well. A lot of times when veterans separate from after 20 years, or retirees separate for 20 years, we're told, well, go see this VSO, right?
Yeah.
What I used to tell sailors was, if you're going to put your disability claim in the hands of a dude that's making 45 grand a year, and if you really think that dude's interest is now, and again, this is not for all the people that work in there, but there are a lot of those VSOs that are, hey man, it's a job, and I'm hoping with Doge that we will get the right people in the right chairs, and maybe pay them more as well. They deserve more.
What's crazy is I never met my VSO. I was assigned a VSO, and I never talked to my VSO on the phone. I couldn't even figure out how to get a hold of them, you know? And so then when I was rated, they rated me at like 40%, I think. And then I was like, no, that's not right. So then I kept going back, and I kept appealing and everything. And luckily, one of the guys I put in, hang on, I got to be careful. So when I recruited a guy into NSW, Naval Special Warfare.
Yeah.
He now works for an organization that that deals with disability stuff, and he gave me some pointers and explained to me that I don't need a VSO, you know, and it's about how you explain it to them and show them and everything. So that I kind of became, I don't want to say an expert, but I'm very knowledgeable on the VA system now as far as ratings and helping veterans and stuff. And I've actually helped quite a few veterans get a higher percentage rating because of what they have wrong with them. And I've gotten numerous veterans 100% based off of their symptoms and what they have. And it's just, it pisses me off that these VSOs are there and they know, especially the ones that aren't doing the job, you know, the ones that are taking it as a job and that's it. They take this job knowing what they have as far as responsibility in their hands, right? They understand the weight of it, but they don't give a shit. And that's the problem. And that's what, if I step back, you know, I spent 99% of my adult life in combat, basically, other than the 4 years I served on the Fife, you know? And in all reality, it was still somewhat combat. You know, we were all Gulf War veterans, basically, because it was never closed, and we were still in danger in certain places. But when I take a step back and I look at the government and what they're doing and how they've been doing it, and what now Elon is doing, it is shining massive lights in certain spots, and it's woke me up even on how much, and I'm by far not stupid. I know our money is being wasted. You know, I was a private security contractor for multiple years in Afghanistan and Iraq. I've seen how much they spend on contracts for stupid shit, because there is a lot of stupid shit for contracts that they just throw money away. But Doge, I think, is probably one of the best things to happen to America since the Constitution, because it is going to reset our government and give the power back to us. I had somebody arguing with me on Facebook, and as a friend, not even, and he's a service member, believe it or not, about the Department of Education being torn apart, right? Doge and Donald Trump tearing apart the Department of Education, and he's saying, well, the schools are going to go to shit and people are going to get dumped. That's
they already are shit.
They're already shit. And here's
they already are shit. Yeah. I mean, you're teaching people they're fucking animals and they're not special. They have no purpose in life. If it feels good, fucking do it. You come from a fucking monkey. It's like, we should show the video of South Park where Mr. Garrett teaches fucking evolution. Can anyone find that? That fucking clip is fucking pure gold. I'm going to look for it and I want to show it. Because, this retard fish fucked that fish and that's how you were born, motherfucker,
Mm-hmm. Well,
but it's back, yeah.
But the thing is like, so he's arguing with me about how the federal government needs to be, the Department of Education needs to be there. We have to have it. And I said, don't you think it would be easier if your state is shit education? Wouldn't it be easier for you to reach out and hold your local representatives accountable versus a federal, a business that doesn't give a shit? It would be easier for you to hold your governor accountable because you have elections, there's elections constantly. You hold those people accountable and you fix your education system yourself. If you don't like the state you live in because of their politics, move, get out of there, save yourself, let it fall, and that's what Americans are so afraid of now, is to let things fail. Because the thing is if it fails, it means all hell is broken loose and we don't know what to do. But the thing is failure is the number one step in success. Okay? People don't realize that you have to, without failure, you have no success at all. I don't care what it is. At some point, you have to fail in order to make it better. And we've been failing for years, okay? Even through the first Trump administration, even though he was working, and I love the guy, he does great work. Bye, bub. I'll talk to you later. I love you. Even though he does great work and everything, there was still problems that didn't get fixed. And obviously he didn't fix it all, and this term isn't going to fix it all either. And we've been failing for decades. Okay. So it needs to be reset. And I think this is the number one step. Doge is there. They're going to start tearing apart. And I think they're starting with the easy shit, honestly. USAID, super easy. It's a big organization that they've been untouchable for so many years. They weren't hiding anything. They weren't able to. They didn't care. They didn't have to hide anything because nobody was looking at them. Same with the Department of Education, And so when you get into these other areas where they're a little bit, I don't want to say smarter, but they're hiding shit, it's going to be a little bit tougher for them. But I think that they're going to tear stuff down to skeleton crew. And
I think what's going to happen is Big Balls is going to get them.
Harry Big Balls.
So. You know what I mean? Like, that song, Big Balls, I think he got the name from fucking AC/DC song. But have you ever heard that song? It's a fucking great song. I played it for my kids after I retired from the Navy, and I took them in my car and I played AC/DC for them. They had the biggest fucking smiles on their faces about Big Balls. And they were like, this was like 4 years ago, man, when I just got home. And they were just grinning and laughing. It's like the funniest fucking song they heard. I was like, yeah. I mean, it's funny. They're complaining about this person that's fucking finding out how they're hiding their fucking money.
And
that's why the Democrats are throwing a fucking fit, because they're going to lose their income. They're going to lose their income.
Well, maybe they should fucking work for their income and do the fucking right thing.
They need to go back to the way it was. where senators and Congress and all of them, they don't make that much. You make very little. You're not allowed to invest in these companies that you're hiring. You know, you should not be on a board of any company or anything monetarily tied to a company if you are in charge of hiring those companies to do that work.
If I was in charge, I would say every fucking senator and congressman is going to get E3 pay, and they're going to get fucking TRICARE.
That's why
so
KBR was such a joke.
So they can understand what it's like when you serve your fucking country. And you know what? Yeah, they hold a higher public office. Maybe. I don't really give a shit. I think a chief petty officer and a petty officer is more important than they are. They actually do stuff for a living, right? And they should get E3 pay and get TRICARE Prime or whatever it is. I can't remember what it is now, but you get TRICARE. And you know what? If you don't like it, then fix TRICARE. If you don't like it, fix the economy so that you get paid more and make sure everyone else gets paid more and stop the inflation. You know what I mean? There are ways to do that. But if you're lazy and you just want to, I don't know, push the envelope a little further or whatever it is, let the shit roll downhill, then yeah, you deserve to get your ass handed to you. They deserve it.
It's just like KBR and Halliburton. They were a joke as far as contracting goes. They had billions and trillions of worth of dollars of contracts, but there was a handful of people in our government that actually had stock in that, and they were board members and everything else, and it was not good. You know, it's ridiculous.
I'm gonna say this on closing out on the Dodge thing. Okay,
the Dodge
Rocky, senator for North Carolina, people. Thumper, senator for fucking Iowa. Me, senator from Missouri. Lil Tate, senator from fucking Virginia. Jimmy, senator of California. We'll walk up to that bitch like a fucking squad.
We'll all wear our USS 5 hats in there.
You know, or dress up like, or wear like the old time clothes, right? Back in the 20s and 30s that gangsters wore, right? Carrying ball bats.
Yeah.
Like, okay, motherfucker.
You ever see The Wire?
Agree with what the American people want? Then we're going to bash your fucking heads in. You know?
Hey, we're going to talk to them like pirates, too, and say you're going to get to work, Swabby, or you're going to toe the line, or you're going to get fucking keel-hauled.
Exactly.
I love it.
In there, sorry, really quick. Add in, for anybody, the veterans like we're talking about, Doug Collins, who's the head of VA now, that information is public. Start emailing him and voicing these concerns. Where we talk about, VSOs or the doctors when you leave are headhunting veterans and trying to decrease that amount of your disability, like we talked about. But we have to put out to get to these veterans to start plugging away at these heads.
On top of that, we should, if any of the veterans that we serve with or other ones are watching this, if you had gotten a rating after you did your years of service and it is unjustified, then you need to go
get a hold of me
for yourself. I mean,
get a hold of me and I'll help you.
Yeah, I had a buddy that helped me get what I got now, and it's a blessing because I got rated pretty high, but it wasn't that high. But then I got all of it, and it's helped me out a lot because I'm not going to say what my conditions are. You can probably tell by the way I talk crazy sometimes, but I also want us to look out for other veterans, whether they're Army, Navy, Space Force, Marine Corps, Air Force.
Space Force hasn't been around long enough. They don't have any problems yet.
But I want them. I want them that served and served honorably to get something in the end for what they did, because not everyone can do what people are doing right now, right? There's a lot of people that can't even join the military because they're fucking fucktards. Yep. They're fucktards, and they went full retard. Never go full retard.
Hey, Rocky, just to add to that, but I spent 20 years in recruiting, so I know recruiting pretty well. But there's people with disabilities that can't serve. There's people, with, and sometimes it's not that big. Medical issues such as asthma, for example. And maybe the guy played football and he brought his inhaler with him. So it's not always just there's as you would say, a lot of dumb fucks that can't pass the ASVAB, right? But for the most part, I don't know what the number is, but only 1% of our eligible people are qualified to serve. Mm-hmm. I don't have the statistics in front of me, but it's a very, very low number. That meets all the requirements, right? Yeah. And Thumper, to go back to your point, your point on, hey, veterans and reaching out and getting help. I've also helped probably over hundreds of people get to, a lot of them got to 100%. So I also can help, or if there's any of our old shipmates or veterans in general, I'm more than happy to help with that as well. You know what? Hey, Rocky and Gil, I would love to see if there's somebody off Fife that we served with who's on the left side and bring them on here just to have a conversation. Hear their perspective on things.
I don't even know if they would actually talk to us and not get emotional and be like, I'm coming from logic, or is it all just emotion? You know what I mean? Like,
you guys remember Shade, right? Maria Shade.
Oh yeah.
So she's a good person. She's a good person, but her political views she's very, very, yes. And I bet if we reach out to her, she'd probably come on. I'd love to hear their different points of view, right? Every now and again. And again, you know what? We can try and convince people our point of view, but a lot of times they've made up their mind. And so we can try and convince me. I'm like, nah, that's bullshit. I don't see it that way. And that's the great thing about this country, right? That people get to voice their opinions. And believe it or not, there's a lot of lefties in the active duty service members, veterans. There's quite a few of them out there.
Which surprises me. Yeah, I mean, it surprises me. Like, if we did one on communism, we'd have to go to that Yuri, I forget his name, Yuri Velgov or something like that, from 1984. There's a video on End Time Productions from YouTube that I watched. It was like an hour or 45 minutes long. And it was this guy explaining how communism was used to just demoralize a society. And he said it takes about 20 years. And he said, this is going to happen in America if you guys are not aware of it. And that's why we have all these people now that have no pride or love for the nation that they're from.
That's crazy, because I can demoralize somebody pretty quick.
Yeah, but they did it. They did it so well. They did it so well that, you go to YouTube in 2022 and you're listening to some people there. They're like, I'm not going to serve this country. And it's crazy because I did. But the way they're talking about it, it's like it kind of makes sense. And you bring in the whole marriage and all that stuff. It's like, why would men want to protect a country where they can't even get a wife? Because the women hate them. So
well,
that opens up another can of worms. So that's for another day, because we need to close this topic out and we can move on to the next.
Lil Tate's got something.
Oh, okay. Yeah, go.
I was just going to say it's Yuri Bezmenov was the actual guy that talked about it. I also want to say it was 2 generations, but that's a whole other story. That's a long one, and how communism works. But yeah.
Now for the people at home or never served or anything, Jimmy, he served with us on the Fife, me and Rocky and Yokosuka. And you left November '98, right?
Yeah, November '98. Yeah.
When did you come to the Fife? It was like 95, 96, something like that?
Actually, April 95.
April 95?
Yeah.
You're there for Commander Tamayo, right?
Yes. Yeah.
How was he as a captain? I always heard he was a good captain.
This guy I served under, I don't know, probably 7 or 8 captains. That guy was the most down-to-earth. He loved enlisted sailors. And he held those officers accountable, right? He held the officers accountable, but still was very, very fair with them. But, I mean, if you want to talk about a truly frigging human individual that connected with the crew, man, this guy was, everybody, we still deal with trauma because he passed away. Anybody on the crew that when he passed away, I still have dreams, nightmares of flight wars. And it's not like I was involved. It was like E1 or E2 or some shit, right? But just the relationship he had with the crew, it was amazing. his skills and the time he took out to just check on people in general. The E1, hey, how you doing, Seaman Recruit Whitney? Hey, how's your day going? Man, most of these captains ain't got time to. Wouldn't say shit, man. Be like, all right, hey, I'm moving on. But again, also, I think his work ethics and his love, his pride in his pride of the ship, man, but his pride of the people that he served. I mean, hands down the best captain. I served with some good captains, but unbelievable.
Yeah, unfortunately, me and Rocky wasn't there for him.
We were there for he was Carl Carpenter, and they used to call him Crazy Ass Carl Carpenter.
I still talk to him.
And how's he doing, by the way?
He's an instructor, or a high school instructor in Arkansas at a high school for NJRTC. Yeah, I mean he's got to be in his late 60s at this point, man. We're all getting older.
Oh yeah.
I mean, I thought he was a cool captain. He was cool. He actually knew my first name. He'd say, "Hey, what's up, Rocky?" I was like, "This is pretty cool." Maybe he was trying to be like Commander Tamayo, but I'm like, yeah. I mean, if I was going to be a captain, I want to know everybody's first name. I want to know about their life. I want to know what's going on back home because, I want them to focus on the mission. And the only way I know that people are going to focus on the mission is if everything is okay back home. A lot of the times.
Yeah, that's how Commander Pons was too.
Yeah,
Commander Pons was that way too.
Who was commander? I'm sorry.
Commander Frank Pons. He's admiral now. I think he's an admiral.
Okay.
He made admiral. I mean, he was a good dude.
He actually made Navy Times for Coffee with the Captain. So he would come down to each space. He'd come down to a space every morning. He would pick a different space, and he would go to muster, and then after muster, kick everybody out like E6 and above, and then sit there with everybody below and drink coffee with them and ask them how they're doing, where they wanted to go. Like, oh, hey, if I could make it happen, where would you like to go on the ship? Like what country do you want to go to? And he would sit there and bullshit with you, and he would sit there and talk to you, and he would talk to you like you're a human, not, that structure kind of melted away a little bit. It was still there, but he was a great skipper. He was pretty awesome. And I remember Carpenter, he was there right when I got there.
I think he was replaced by
Fields.
Commander Hubin.
Fields.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Because Fields is the one that re-enlisted me in 2000 at the Persian Gulf.
Yeah.
Then S.H. Huber. Because I remember him, he had a license plate that said DD991 on it.
Yeah, he didn't last long.
But
he
Jimmy,
got in big trouble.
Did you ever see any weird ghost stuff on the 5 when you was there, especially in Yokosuka?
I don't know if this is ghost stuff, but I'm going to tell the story anyhow.
Okay.
So I was a pretty heavy drinker when I was E1, E2. I was pretty like, hey, the engineer, you guys, we fucking partied. We worked hard, we played hard, right?
Oh yeah. One thing I remember about the ship, Jimmy, was that the 5 crew was a tight crew together.
Oh, for sure.
We would have our berthing wars and everything like that, but we were a tight crew, and I remember people would be getting in fights with other ships, and other 5 sailors would go and defend the other.
Yeah,
that was badass. I mean, I think that's something that needs to come back, honestly. But
anyhow, so I don't know if this is a ghost story or not, but it's not really a ghost story, but it's a funny story. So we used to friggin' hit it pretty hard, and Carpenter was the captain, and I was his master helmsman, so I had a relationship with him. Master helmsman, when you're pulling in and out of ports, that's a big deal to the captain. When you're an E1, E2, whatever, E3. So I'm in Buffalo's bar with this guy, Dave Stamball. I don't know if any of you guys remember him. He's a little short guy from Pennsylvania. Yep. Still in touch with him today. He works in San Diego. So, hey man, he was a knucklehead, and I was a knucklehead, but I still could do my job. I still was pretty good at my job, right? Whatever that was. It was chipping paint or whatever the case may be. I wasn't one of those fuck the Navy guys. It was, all right, we got paint inside the ship. Let's fucking go. Get 2 dudes up in the paint foot, and let's move on. So me and Stymie went out to Buffalo's bar one, we're probably after coming in at like 5 o'clock in the morning the previous day, and we go out the night and we're getting underway the next morning. So go out. I was playing pool. I think me and Stammy used to try and make a few bucks inside because we weren't getting paid shit back then. So some dude off the indie pushed my fucking pool cue. So I'm like, all right, that was an accident first time, no worries. But there was probably $20 or $25 in the game. So I feel another shove again. I'm like, this time I lift him up and I put him through the window of Buffalo's bar. I lift him, I put him out, he's got blood. And then, hey, the Japanese police came, and then friggin' Rocky, your boys, Shore Patrol. So, hey, man, I'm shitting fucking bricks, man. And Stymie's, they put me in handcuffs, and Stymie's waving at me in the police car as I pull off. So I'm like, I'm fucked. We're getting underway tomorrow. I'm supposed to drive the ship out. So I'm like, how am I going to fucking explain this one? So they take me back. I am pretty fucked up. I don't know what, I forget what I blew, but so they locked me up in the drunk tank or whatever on Yokosuka. And I'm like, look, I don't fall asleep. I'm like looking at the clock. I'm like, hopefully I'm gonna get out of here. So like at 5 o'clock in the morning, one of the MAs come. Hey, we're taking you back to the ship. We're giving you a courtesy ride back to the ship. I'm like, are you guys gonna bring me up the brow? So they put handcuffs on me and they take me out of the fucking police car. And it's about 6:30 at this point. And Carl Carpenter comes running down the fucking brow. Get this guy out of handcuffs. We're getting underway. So the MAs is trying to explain what happened. He's like, get the fuck off my ship. Get out of here. He said, boats, go down, get in uniform. Hey, we're getting underway in fucking 20 minutes. Man. He said, I'll deal with you later. I never heard anything from him after that. Nothing. Not a fucking thing. It was crazy. Crazy story.
See, that's when the Navy was the real Navy, in my opinion.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, well, I had a story like that from the Middle East, but we're not going to talk about that.
So I don't know. I had somebody looking out for me, man. I got away with. I mean, I thought I was going to be fucking paid for damage for the windows. So I don't know.
Old
I never asked
Buffaloes.
any more questions.
I remember that place well, and George's too.
Oh yeah,
Old Country Bar.
Yep.
You remind me, you got sent, got put in handcuffs for fighting and all that crap, right? I know everyone remembers Kavanaugh, the Raging Cajun, right?
Oh yeah. I
don't know how many times he got brought up in handcuffs. And I remember one time Lieutenant fucking Haynes, the big old MPA we had, dude, he's like, Kavanaugh, who the fuck were you beating ass today for? Why? Who did you whip now? That's his fucking question.
It's so funny.
Yeah.
But we all drank like that back in the day. Engineering, hell, the EL Chief Turbo was drunk half the time going out underway. Everybody in Edgewood was drunk. People on the fucking helm was drunk still get underway.
I'll be honest with you, Gilly. A lot of my boys that I grew up in deck division, they didn't make it. They didn't make it through the full the full tour.
Oh yeah. Now I know you was a BM, right? When I came on, he was like BM3, maybe BM2.
BM3. He was BM3.
BM3, yeah.
I know you made second class, correct? I know that. But
I made second class when I went recruiting.
Went recruiting, okay. So you still BM3 we left 5. I thought you made BM2 then. Okay.
Yeah.
Did you stay at BM the whole time? Because I know you made Master Chief, correct?
No. So I'll make a long story short. I went on recruiting duty right after 5.
Okay.
And then I became a career recruiter. So I spent, again, 20 years in recruiting, which it's an NC, a Navy counselor, but we have 2 different designations. One specialized in recruiting and one is on the ship. Yep. Rocky, did you ever do any recruiting?
No, I actually after boot camp.
Okay. But you never.
I never did anything after that.
Yeah. MAs typically didn't. didn't go. They had other more important shit to be doing than recruiting.
What NRD were you with?
So I was with 5 different NRDs, but so I started off in NRD New England, then went to NRD Buffalo, then went to NRD San Francisco, NRD Phoenix. Then I was down at Memphis for about 3 years, or in Millington for 3 years, and then
I was out of NRD Minneapolis.
Who's your CR?
Look, I don't even remember.
What years? I probably know.
2010 to 2012.
2010, 2012, Minneapolis would have been Glenn Blair.
I don't remember. I worked for Senior Chief Neville. He was a SEAL.
Oh, okay. So you worked on the Spec Ops side.
Yeah, I did the
Okay.
NSO NSW. Recruiting.
Oh, okay. Did you know Shane Ludwig in San Francisco?
That sounds really familiar.
Okay, so he's been in recruiting for like 20 years, but he's a civilian scout for Navy SEALs.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. See, when I was recruiting, we didn't have civilian scouts.
Yeah, no, I got it.
It was that sounds really familiar though. They were so. Yeah, I was out of NRD Minneapolis. I covered like 6 state, all basically upper Midwest.
Yeah, I know the area very well. I know a lot of people in Minneapolis before, so yeah. So my last assignment was the chief recruiter of San Francisco. That's why I'm still here. So,
nice.
So Rocky, in the recruiting world, we have a master chief who's in charge of a recruiting command, which I had in Northern California, about 300 recruiters. So E5s and also O1s, O2s, O3s, and then you work directly for the captain.
Yeah.
And you're the subject matter expert for recruiting. But I started off as a regular recruiter, then LPO of a recruiting station, then in charge of like 5 recruiting stations. And then I was the assistant chief recruiter of a area. And I actually, did you guys remember Joe Kidd? He was an OS.
Yeah, I think I remember.
Okay. Big guy. Funny as hell. Me and him we actually set the Chiefs board in 2014, which was kind of a 5. It was pretty cool from a 5 perspective that we kind of reunited.
That's awesome.
Yeah. Actually, I'd love to get Joe Kidd on here sometime. This dude's a character, man.
Bring him on. Well,
yeah.
Contact us.
Yeah, exactly. Man.
Because what's cool is we're reconnecting with a lot of old shipmates, and it's pretty awesome. You know what I mean?
I agree.
I don't think anyone else is doing this. To be honest, I don't think there's any other podcast where it's a group of sailors that serve together, that are reconnecting and helping each other get through life, and then trying to help other people at the same time from the same ship.
Man, when I see Gilly's post, man, I'm like, wow, this is cool. And Rocky, I've seen you on back and forth on Facebook over the years. I'm like, well, Rocky hasn't changed a bit. He's the same fucking guy. He's a couple of years older, but he's still looking good.
I'm trying, man. I'm trying. I want to be a DILF, Daddy. I like to fuck.
Love it.
Now, Rocky.
Yeah,
I know you and PJ went to something in Japan.
Yeah, there was
Was that on base or out in town?
It was on base, and it was like where the train tracks were, and there was like this bridge, but it was also next to the yards in Yoko. Yeah. And there was some kind of ghost of the samurai there, or that was the legend. And me and PJ we were fucked up that day, man. I was fucked up, and it was raining, and it was fucking cold. And we were walking, and we saw something, and I was like, "Hey, man, you see that?" And I think he said, "Yeah." I said, "Does that kind of look like a samurai kind of Japanese guy?" Because it looked like the robes, like in the Last Samurai movie. You know how they dressed back then? It looked like that. And we were like, "Hey, let's go another direction back to the ship," because I don't want to run into that. But that was a weird thing, man. Because I went to Japan again in 2005, and I stayed there till 2008. And at that time, I was stationed in Atsugi. And Atsugi was a haunted place too. And what was weird was like they had a lot of weird fucking problems because they had incinerators that would burn shit there, but they took those down by the time I got back there, and it would like pollute the whole fucking sky out there. And so Atsugi was a crazy place too. I mean, we had like this old building where everyone would go ghost hunting, right? And we would see some weird shit like orbs. My friend Steve, he was MA1 Mabes. Good guy, good dude, man. He retired. He had orbs in his apartment in the high-rise towers in Atsugi. Like the housing there was like you had high-rise towers. And I was actually there with Gerald Lyle. Remember Lyle?
Yep.
Gerald was MA1 at the time. And I even reconnected with God dang, I was in Bahrain with them. Glenn Locke.
I talked to Glenn quite a bit.
Glenn was a good dude, man. I didn't know him that well, but I think he was a BM3 at the same time. But he left too, and then I met up with him in Bahrain in 2011. But Japan just had this weird thing. Like in Atsugi, one day I was walking home, and it was like almost a summer day, not too bad of weather. It was clear. And I was walking to this building called 1289, and it was this big barracks room. And I don't know what was going on, but I was coming home and it was still daylight, and I saw this big fucking black shadow. Like this, the only thing I can equate it to was like the black smoke monster in Lost. I had not seen Lost yet. And it had almost like wings. Like, you know how like you see wings like that, like on a bat? But it was smoky. And it went up the building and all the way to the top of the roof. And I was walking it, and I was like, am I fucking seeing this right now? And I smacked myself. I smacked myself again. I was like, I got to make sure I'm conscious for this. This has got to be real. And I saw that thing, and it went up to the top of the building. And I'm like, well, I lived on the bottom floor. I was like, well, I'm glad it didn't go to the bottom floor. So, and then later on, I ended up becoming a Christian, right? So I would read about theology and all that stuff. And I lived in a barracks room there on the bottom floor, and they gave me 2 rooms because I was at first class at the time. And one day I woke up, and it was like a Saturday morning, and there was this black thing that looked like the Disturbed cover. You ever see that Disturbed cover where it has like that big black thing? This thing had eyes like that, and it was looking at me, and it couldn't cross the plane of my doorway going into my room that I slept in. I was like, well, something's blocking that thing from getting to me. And I looked at it, and I was like, ha, you can't get me. And I went back to sleep. But I thought about it later, and I ended up reading this book called something about the darkness. I got it. It's upstairs. It's The Shadow in the Darkness by a guy named George Lotus or something, like Christian writer. And he talked about that same thing. It appeared in the Himalayas. Like wow. Something that looked like that. It was crazy, some kind of crazy entity. So, I mean, that's 2 weird stories that I have from Japan about ghosts. And it's crazy. I don't know if it's ghosts. It was some kind of spirit thing. And for some weird reason, the veil was lifted at that time for me to see these things. But, you know, I've seen a little bit of crazy things in almost every command I've gone to. Even the Lincoln was kind of creepy when I went to the Abraham Lincoln. But I mean, I can talk about those ghost things and other things like that a lot. Jimmy, do you remember when they said when we were going to Hong Kong and it was like 1997, the first time that me and Gilly were on the boat, and the boat was just going crazy, like driving really fast, and the rumor was that we were chasing a UFO. And
Yes.
So that was really it, huh?
Yep.
Did you see?
Hey, Gilly. Rocky, do you remember Alameda? Robert Alameda?
Yeah,
Oh, yeah.
So this guy, you guys knew, he was kind of a strange ranger.
Yep.
Right? So he came across as like he went to Berkeley, and he was some really, really smart dude, but somebody seen his ASVAB score down in the admin office. I don't know if it was the training officer or Glenn Locke or whoever. And he scored like a 31. So he was no bright smart. He wasn't. I mean, hey, those scores don't mean shit. But the way he come across is like, hey, got like an Ivy League education. I'm an E1 in deck division. But he was a little strange, right? But he reported seeing a UFO. He was on Forward Lookout. He reported seeing a UFO during the midwatch, and because it was him, nobody really took it serious. Like, okay, there's an aberration off the forecastle. 030. Like, okay, all right, buddy. Yeah, right on. Definitely tracking that down. But he was a kind of a strange dude that if you're around him, you're like, it's kind of weird, man. I don't know how to describe it. And I know I talked to a lot of the deck dudes, same thing. They're like, man, this dude, there's something different.
Something's not right about it.
Something not right.
Yeah.
Thumper, do you ever remember a guy by last name or last name? Remember a Chief Moore out in Minneapolis? Brian Moore? He was a former Army guy.
I don't know if I ever met him. No. And that's weird because that was after because I crossed to the Army and crossed back to the Navy. So I definitely would have known. So maybe I met him at the command Christmas party or something. I don't know, but I don't remember meeting him. No.
Yeah, if you met this dude, you'd never forget him. He was a former D-seaman, and he got pretty fucked up when he went, or he crossed over. I guess he came to the Navy and then went over to the Army, and similar story, Thumper. Came back to the Navy again, but man, guy's a character, man. You could have fun with that dude, man, if you were sober all night. He got fucking stories up the ass. It's like, wow. Like, you can't make this shit. He's got to be making this shit up.
Who was Almeida, the guy that dressed up like a draftsman when he went to Captain's Mast?
Yes.
It was him, right?
Yes.
He was the one that put it like, I was like, who is this guy? He's a seaman or a deck seaman or something like that. And he had like this, oh my gosh. I was like, I remember that. I was like, I'm crazy, but this guy's more crazy.
No, but he was crazy from like a ghost perspective.
Yeah.
He was like weird. It was like, Seaman Whitney, how do you think I'm performing right now? Yeah, you're doing good, buddy. Thumbs up. Keep up the good work.
Yeah.
Keep at it. He was strange. He was strange. And then, then he would come across, say, I'm getting screwed over here. Hey, they're making me stand the mid-watch. I have an education from Berkeley, which I think it was bullshit. I don't think he had an education in Berkeley. But he was from he said he was from California.
Yeah.
He might have visited the Berkeley campus.
I bet that place is weird.
Well, yeah. He would be a good fit over there for sure.
Yeah.
So that
100%.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's funny. Like, I think about a lot of people on the Fife, and a lot of us were characters.
Oh yeah.
Like, out of every place I've been at, and I don't know if it's just because it's the first command or my first tour in the Navy. It's like I remember so many people from the Fife because they were fucking characters, and I'm pretty sure I was fucking one of them. But these people made an impression on me because I was like, wow. Were you there when Baker? Remember Seaman Baker?
Yes.
Where he was cranking with me.
Yeah.
And I wasn't in the room, but he was in the deep sink, and he had those big rubber gloves on, and he stuck his hands in the deep sink, and it burned his skin off, and it turned it like pink. Oh my gosh, man.
Poor bastard.
Dude. I was like, man, I don't know how you survived it, but fuck, dude. How do you do that? That's just crazy.
Hey, so there's a funny fucking story about Baker. See you bring up Baker. Do you guys remember, or do you remember Will Kelly? He was from Louisiana. He was a BM, or he was a deck seaman, then was a BM3.
I have a book from
yeah. Anyhow, you might have known him. Actually, he's probably kind of quiet outside of Deck Division. He was probably quiet or not fiercely well known. But anyhow, Will Kelly, he married a DOD high school teacher in Japan when we were over there. So she always had a lot of money. So then they moved back stateside, and he got out of the Navy. He opened up his own trucking company. But it was probably the period before he separated. The ship had moved back to Everett, and Baker said, "Hey, I want to go home. I want to go visit home." And Kelly's from Louisiana, and Baker's from, I forget exactly, maybe somewhere else in Louisiana, I guess. So I guess they did a road trip from Washington down to Louisiana, but Baker packed up the truck with like TV, like small block TVs and DVRs. And Kelly pulls up to the trailer park. And so Will's like, "Hey, man, all right. Hey, he lives in one of the trailers." "No, man, his family lived like in a fucking Conex box in the back of the trailer park." And Baker's, "Hey, mama, bring the stuff." He said it was comical, man. Baker was a character. He was a character.
We had a lot of characters.
Yeah. Baker and Jackson. Remember Jackson?
Jackson. I think I do. Derek
Jackson. Yep.
Yeah, Derek.
Yeah.
I remember Derek. I don't know if he's around anymore. I'm not sure.
Yeah, he's on Facebook. I chat with him every now and again.
He's doing all right?
Oh yeah.
Good.
I mean, I'm not sure what he's doing, but he seems to be doing okay.
That's good. He's doing okay. I'm glad he's doing okay.
He's got a couple of kids and a couple of old ladies and
couple baby mamas,
a couple of old mistresses and old baby mamas and former wives and all that good stuff. But hey, man, God bless them. Yeah, man, there's some characters.
You might know have you heard from Hugel? Remember him?
Oh my God!
Boswell being mean to me again.
That guy.
Don't mess with me, Boswell. We called him Pigpen. Remember, we called him Pigpen because he was so dirty all the time. When he was walking, it seemed like a dirt cloud would follow him. Like, oh my God!
Oh my God! I have not heard his name in like 27 years.
I didn't know if you knew he was that or anything.
Yeah, I have not heard from ours. Who else? There was another. You guys remember Marzulli, right?
Oh yeah.
I think he left before I got there, but they said
no, he was still there. He left right after we got there.
I don't remember him.
Yeah, Rocky. If you've seen his picture, you'd say, okay.
Yeah.
Anyway, I guess he's living in Thailand. I guess he opened up a restaurant over there. So he's an Italian dude from Philly. Another character.
Yeah.
Still a character. Gilly, you remember Russo?
Yep.
I still talk to Russo probably once every week, or he lives about 100 miles from where I live at.
And we got a comment on Facebook from Good. Oh, Good.
Oh, are you serious?
Yeah.
He said he was phenomenal. I think he was talking about Commander Tamayo, and Jimmy's got it right about how good Commander Tamayo was back in the day.
Yeah.
Oh, good. Blue sky.
Hey, I remember Good, man. Good was a hard worker, man. And I remember going with some buckets down to the engine room. We were walking down. Any of you guys remember Holly? Any of you guys remember Holly?
Name sounds familiar.
Yeah. You would have seen him at the paint locker. And he'd be the guy issuing the paint.
I bet that was
and he was pretty good at it.
I'm sure he was happy with the fumes.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Because I remember PJ would say, dude, we hang out in the paint locker and everybody's getting high and they're like, what's up, dude? I remember that. I was like, dude, this thing is strong. I was like, man, I'm going to hang out here.
Yeah. As long as I don't have to go back and bring paint to go to work.
colleague. Yeah,
All
that
right,
name's
guys.
so familiar.
I'm going to be taking off.
Okay.
I'll see you guys later.
Take care. Nice.
Yep.
Good. Take care.
Later, bro.
Will do.
I have
Hey,
about
Jimmy,
5 minutes.
your son's gonna be stationed in Cusco too, right?
Yeah, he's going to USS Preble. Just moved from San Diego back last year. It's a DDG.
Yep.
So yeah, he's got some fun times ahead of him.
Oh yeah, that's awesome. That you were
Yeah.
stationed in Cusco. Now he's gonna be stationed there too.
Yeah, he's excited, man. He's excited as hell.
I wonder
What's
if
he going in as? What's
He's an ensign already. So
Oh, that's awesome, man.
yeah, he actually graduated from Berkeley this past May, and he was in ROTC while he was in college for the past 4 years. So he got commissioned the day after he graduated.
Good for him.
Yeah,
I wonder if-
Great things.
I wonder if Anthony's is still there because I remember I asked you on Messenger.
Yeah.
I couldn't remember that pizza place we always used to go to. You know,
yeah.
you said Anthony. I wonder if that place is still there.
I don't think so because I was there. I was there 2 years ago. I don't think Anthony's is still there.
I mean, that pizza was good. I liked it.
Oh man, that's the best pizza overseas.
Yeah.
Shit, man, it's probably good pizza anywhere in some parts of the States.
Yeah. I mean, first time I remember going there, old GSM One Johnson in Stafford. This is when I first got to. They said, "Come on, Gilly, you're coming with us for lunch." I said, "Okay, fine." You know, and they ordered a pitcher of beer. I'm like, I was only 18. I was like, dude, I can't drink this shit. Yeah, you can. You're old enough. God damn it. I said, we're gotta go back to work. We're just gonna have one pitcher, go back to work. That's it. But that's how it was back then too. No one cared if you had a drank beer at lunch as long as you did your job.
Man, I mean those times, man. I think Rocky, you said it best earlier on, man. Those memories, they stick with you forever. You know, I've been to some good commands since that, but that place, that's the foundation, man. We were young and stupid, and we can get away with some shit. It was good times. We didn't have we thought we had a lot of responsibility. We didn't have that much responsibility. Well, at the time, we thought we had a lot of responsibility. Like, okay, go paint the ship. All right.
Righto.
Yeah.
But how many 18-year-olds, 19-year-olds, drive the boat out, right? Or be in engineering, right? Same thing. You ain't gonna find that civilian world at all.
Yeah, I mean, I drove 500 Sydney Harbor. That's something that's really cool that most people would. I mean, from a ship perspective, it's pretty cool, I think.
Yeah, because I know as engineers, we used to give y'all hell on the bridge when you was fucking up our engines. We're like, motherfuckers, quit fucking them up.
Hey man, I used to be back in the house steering for me and one of the engineers. Like, all right, hey, wake me up and then go.
That was probably either Owen or Reed.
It was Owen.
Oh,
He ended up becoming a warrant officer.
Yeah.
Yep.
He had a good career.
Yeah, he did.
He's a good guy. Owen's a very, very good guy, man. Sharp dude.
Yeah,
even when he was younger.
Yep.
He was sharp. Who else we got out there?
There's so many people, man, especially like from deck division. I mean, you had Melanson, you had Wilson.
So Adam Melanson retired, I want to say 4 or 5 years ago. So around the same time as you, Rocky.
He made BMC, right? Or
he was a BMC. Yeah, BMC. I think he's back in Louisiana.
Really?
Yeah, I need to shoot him a text. I haven't talked to him in a bit. I think I was trying to get. What's that?
You got a lot of people from Louisiana on the boat.
Yeah, I know a lot of people from the boat all over the place. Believe it or not, it's crazy. Because again, man, that crew was tight.
That was one of the coolest things about that ship, to be honest. Like, I never saw anything like that ever again in any command I went to. And it bummed me out. Like I did good at my other commands and I made rank and all that shit, but the camaraderie that we had, even when you didn't like the person, you'd still stick up for him in a fight I thought was fucking awesome because that was your shipmate, man.
Yeah. We took care of each other, man.
Yeah.
Take care of each other. Nobody's going to screw up. But you know what, Rocky, I think also it was our age as well, it's kind of hard when you're E1, E2, E3, and then you start making rank. It's different.
Yeah.
Because you're not hanging out with, when we're E1s, E2s, E3s, we're hanging out with E1s, E2s, E3s, right? Or maybe a couple E4s and E5s here and there. But for the most part, I think it's age. But again, that crew was, you're right, the crew was amazing. It was fun.
And that was before women got on board, too.
Who's that?
That's before all the women got on board, too.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Because when the women got on board, it made like high school again.
Yeah?
I mean, because a lot of the guys were chasing all these females because we never got them on board before.
Yeah.
I think you left by the time that. Did you go to Washington with us?
Yes, but I was only there for about 7 or 8 months.
Well, right after that, remember how you'd have that radio? Some RM1 would walk around in fucking underwear and a t-shirt and go get fucking G-Dunk. How's it going? He always said, "How's it going?" And he wore fucking Boondockers, right?
Is that the black guy?
No, he's a white guy. Big, husky white guy. He's like, "How's it going?" I was like, as soon as the girls came on board, dudes were wearing cologne and combing their fucking hair and brushing their teeth. So it was like high school again. And it was funny, man, because, I met Maria that way. Maria came on there, and I was walking through a main 2 P-Wing, and she's like, "Hi, how's it going?" And I didn't say anything to her. She was like, "Hey, I just said hi. Why would you say hi back?" I'm like, "I don't want you to think I'm sexually harassing you." Because we had that one Master Chief that was like, "Don't talk to the girls. Leave them alone. We don't want to get sexual harassment." Because, a couple of years prior to that was who's that name? The judge. Anita Hill and Clarence Thomas thing.
Oh, yeah.
And that kind of had an effect on men and women in the Navy and in general society at the time. So it was funny because that's how I met her. And, she was cool back then, but I haven't talked to her in a really long time. So I didn't know that she had all these views.
Who did you date, Rocky?
It was Williams for a while.
Christina?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then we broke up, and then I ended up meeting my wife. So it was good.
That works.
I met my wife, and we've almost been married for 20 years now, bro.
Congrats. That's awesome.
I mean, in a world where everything's falling apart, I still got that going on, and that's pretty good.
Yeah, man. Can't beat that. That's it's a rare occurrence nowadays.
Yeah, it is, bro.
Yeah, especially I think service members. I think especially Navy. There's a lot of coming and going.
Yeah. So
that's awesome.
Do you have any crazy stories from Ireland?
I think the next episode I can share some crazy stories. I got about 5 minutes. I gotta go pick up my daughter from swimming. So, but yeah, this has been awesome. Yeah. When are you guys going again?
We'll be
go again on Thursdays, Sundays.
Okay. I will see if I can make Thursday, but probably definitely Sunday.
Okay.
Football's over, so now it's great. This is great entertainment. Great entertainment value.
I'm glad you wanted to come on.
Yeah. And contact the other guys because we may not be in contact with them and tell them, hey, if you want to come on and talk and just say hey and whatever, like we're more than happy to do that.
Yeah, we need to get. I can definitely get a few more people. Glenn Locke. I don't know. Russo is kind of one of those dudes that I don't know if he likes the camera, but yeah, we'll see. I need to get a hold of Malazone.
I would love to see Captain Carl again, and he's in Arkansas, not too far from me in Missouri.
I mean, he was a cool. I thought he was cool. I mean, that was my first CO.
I'll see if we can get him on. I'll drop.
That would be fucking awesome right there to see.
Yeah, because
crazy Carl.
He was very, very interested when my son was going through college, and he was asking a lot of questions, and
That's good.
Do you need anything? And again, that guy for me, some people didn't like him for whatever reason. But I always saw you straightforward, and that's why I like people who are straightforward. And he wasn't a smiling guy. You know, some guy smiling and then fuck you in the ass afterwards.
I hate that.
I remember Captain Carl. You know, he's on the way. It was somewhere warm, I think, Australia or something. You know, how we had to wear those fire retardant coveralls. I was on the mid watch. It got hot down there. I was like, fuck this. So I had my seat on, but I was down to my fucking white t-shirt and my fucking boxers. That's it, my boots and the seat on. And he came down there. I was like, oh, fuck. I made two. I was like, I'm fucked here. And he goes, oh, at least you got your seat on. I was like, okay.
Yeah.
You know,
well,
but he never said anything and not have my coveralls on. I mean, because it was fucking hot. I was like, fuck this. Mid-watch, ain't no one up, really. No. That's before we had the women on board, too. So when the women came on board, we couldn't do that shit no more.
Yeah. I mean, I'll be honest with you, man. I was getting out of the Navy after 4 years. I was auditioning for U.S. Marshals and police departments, and he came down to me probably 2 or 3 months before I was about to get separated, whatever. He woke me up in my rack. He said, hey, Boats, where'd you want to go? I said, sarcastic, I said, Boston. Because I'm like, there's no Navy in Boston. Man, he came back about 2 hours later. He came down and said, hey, are you interested in recruiting? They're taking E4 recruiters. I'm like, in Boston? Yeah, in Boston, which was not the truth. But the headquarters is in Boston, right? But I was actually stationed in Springfield. I don't know if you guys are familiar with. It's about 100 miles from Boston. Yeah. But anyhow, I guess, so he's like, hey, are you interested in screening for? I said, yeah. Because I did like the recruiting process when I came in. I kind of remember how it worked. And, you know, I'm like, yeah, man, you get to help people or take people out of bad situations. So I'm like, yeah, sure. But I didn't think he was going to pull it off, I guess that's what I'm saying. You know, hey, so I owe him a lot of gratitude. And, you know, and again, a lot of the shipmates I serve with is, you know, Rocky, I don't know how you feel about, but doing a career, man, they definitely shaped my opinions of things in a positive direction.
Yeah, because I was dead set on getting out too when I was done, because I was like, I don't fit in. Well, I thought I didn't, but
we all thought you fit in well, Rocky.
Yeah, but I don't know. And then I decided to stay in. I wanted to convert to MA, and I was trying to convert to MA before 9/11 happened. And then 9/11 happened. They're like, okay, you're going to become an MA. So I went to MAA school in Point Loma, dude. And then I became MA2. I went to Seal Beach. They sent me to nav lead because I was already getting ready to take the first class test in 2002. That's how quick I went up.
You met Frank fast.
I did, but I made first class very quickly, but I did 10 years as a first class, and then I made chief. And but you know, at least I made chief, you know, because it was cool to make chief. I was proud with that.
There's a lot of good first class who never made chief.
Yes,
we know some of them.
Oh yeah, Glenn was one of them, man. Yep. Glenn was awesome. He worked in the same division as me. I was the AT LPO. He was the physical security LPO in Bahrain, and he was awesome.
Glenn's a good dude, man. Strong as an ox.
And then when I made chief and I got selected, he had already retired, and he was in Port Hueneme. And I just happened to see him on the base because we were getting our dress whites and everything from there. And he's like, dude, what are you doing here? I'm like, dude, it's great to see you, man, because I hadn't seen him in a couple years.
Sure.
And it was great to see him. And I think now he's doing he sells houses or something like that. I can't remember.
He's a realtor.
Realtor,
I think in the Port Hueneme area.
Yeah. So man, he was one of the good dudes that never made it. And it's like, he helped a guy named Ralph Dynas, who's now a senior chief. This guy made first class in 3.5-4 years.
Wow.
Because the PTS thing, you know how PTS performed to serve was going on?
Yep.
The chief in Bahrain fucked him over.
Okay.
They were going to make him get out, but Glenn found a loophole or something like that, and he got him a first class crow. And then he left the first class with me, and Ralph and I went to level 2 coxswain together. And then he went to, I think, Georgia, and I
Yeah.
went to Steel Beach again to be a coxswain, and I ended up making chief there and becoming the training ATO and the training LPO there.
Wow.
So, or the training chief. I ended up being the training LPO to training chief. Well, we lost him.
Yep.
Well, he did say he was leaving in 5 minutes. So.
Yep. He had to go pick his daughter up for swim class.
Oh, it was great talking to him. That was awesome.
Oh, hell yeah.
I hope that we can get more people, more sailors, more of our shipmates to come on board and talk to us and just rehash old times and talk about the funny shit we saw and all of that.
Well, we might have to rename this one.
Yeah, we'll rename it.
On it. But I'm good if you all want to close out.
Yeah, we can close out. Let me get my thing. Anyways, now that we're closing out, please like and subscribe to the Fifers DD911 podcast on YouTube, Facebook, Rumble, and X.
Yep.
And we're going to work on getting an account on Instagram also. So we would love to hear from all our shipmates and talk about old times and good times. Other than that, do you guys have anything else?
Nope. I don't.
All right, let me prepare. Got to prepare for this. All right. Fifers departing. Oh wait, he's back. Never mind. We're not leaving yet. He's back. I thought you had to leave, bro.
Yeah, my iPad just died. But I actually do have to leave. I gotta go pick up my daughter. But hey, great catching up with you guys. I will try and join you guys next, or maybe Thursday, but definitely next Sunday.
Okay.
And I'll get the word out and see if we can get a few more of the old Cowboys jump on board.
That would be awesome.
Maybe we'll send an invite to Maria.
Okay.
You think Christina would come on?
I don't know. I think she's
in Germany right now.
Germany or
She
something.
is in Germany. Yeah, she is in Germany.
She might. I mean, who knows? I mean, I got her on Facebook. All she's got to do is, send a private message. I just need an email address. That's all I need. Yeah, that's it.
Yeah, it'd be cool to get some of the girls back on. Just who's done really well. Alex, Christina Hill.
Oh yeah. Dude, I saw her in San Diego. We ran into each other.
Yeah.
She was doing something in Coronado, and I was doing a workout there because the gyms were closed during COVID.
Yeah.
We catched up. I was like, man, it's so great to see you. And she's a Master Chief. I think she retired now. But she did really well too, man.
She did very, very well. And she's a good person. She's a really, really good person.
Yeah, she's awesome.
And her husband is even better.
Oh, Alex, man. I miss that guy. He was a good dude too.
We need to get him on. And also we need to get Roach as a character. We need to get that dude on. He'll have some stories.
So I remember when I posted on the Fife and Love Now page, right? Roach immediately goes, Alex. He said Site TV, and I forgot all about the Site TV thing.
That's right.
I did. I forgot all about it.
Man, I'll tell you. So you two guys come up with this idea. This is great. I love it.
Well, me and Little
actually was him and Little Tate.
Me and Little Tate did, because me and Little Tate's conversations, right? Dude, there were times they'd go from 3 hours to 7 hours.
Wow.
And we're like, dude, we need to do something like this, like a podcast or something like that. Then we did the first one, it was me, him, and Chief DeRozier. Remember him?
Yeah.
And then I got a hold of Rocky, because I didn't know if he'd be on board. And he goes, fuck yeah, I'm on board. Fuck, let's go.
I wanted to start my own podcast. I didn't want it to be me because I was like, I wanted to have people to talk to and talk about interesting things.
Rocky, are you into sports at all?
Not as much as I used to be.
Okay.
But I do love sports. I haven't paid attention. A lot of it I lost just trying to do the other stuff.
I just graduated from San Francisco Film School, so I was learning documentaries, sports analysts, all that sort of stuff. And I have a huge passion for boxing. And I think what might be a good thing maybe down the road we need to take a look at is I don't see any channels for the Armed Forces Network or for service members in regards to combat sports or boxing. And that could be something we could look at.
Yeah, that'd be interesting because did you ever read Chris Kyle's book?
Yes.
About how the MMA guys wanted to fight the Navy SEALs all the time?
Yep. Yep.
Like, I don't think those MMA guys would actually survive it. I don't know. It's two different things.
Yeah. I mean, MMA fighters they're one dimensional. Not saying they're badasses, but
they are. They're badasses.
But SEALs are on a different level.
Oh yes, they are.
The apples and oranges.
I mean, there might be a few MMA fighters out there, right? That probably could beat some of them, but not a lot of them out there that could beat them, in my opinion, anyways.
Yeah, and again, I mean, I guess the perspectives are different, right?
Yep.
UFC fighter and then longevity. Okay, yep. UFC fighter. Okay, it's a fight, but
the SEALs they fight to the death sometimes when they have to.
There you go.
And there's the difference right there. I think that would be hard for SEAL if he was seeing red, right? Not to kill the guy. You know?
Yeah. But you know what? I know a lot of Navy SEALs, man. They're the most down to earth freaking people, in my opinion.
Yep.
And yes, they have that weapon in their back pocket if they ever called upon. But they're some of the most humble individuals and freaking badasses I know. But,
oh, I know. Silent service. Remember, silent service.
Yeah, they're humble. They're free. Man, just badasses, and they're good people, good human beings, as well. As being badasses.
That's cool. That's really cool.
All right, gentlemen, it was fun. Thank you.
Well, I'm going to ding us out right now.
Go ahead and ding us out again.
Fifers departing. And that's it.